right, it is kneecap biting with the Detroit Lions. I am smoking Jeremy B. I got Patriots media Jordan Davison here. I'm hoping Dan Leonard will jump in, our resident Giant slash Lions fan. So, cut downs are done. So, what were your biggest surprises there, Jordan?
As I said earlier, the biggest surprise cut was the Patriots not only cut one quarterback, they cut two quarterbacks within about 2 minutes apart, but then they re-signed both of them today on the practice squad. So I think another signing's going to come at that position to have on their active roster. And then defensively, the only really big surprises was they cut Carl Davis a couple days ago, which he's one of our probably our best stopping nose tackle. And then keeping Sean Wade was a surprise.
Awesome. Oh, Chicken Nugget King is here. What's up there, Joseph? Good to see you. I will be doing a show tonight at 10:30, just going over the Lions stuff in general. The surprises to me was Wasted Wednesday in Baltimore, and yet he's rather sober. That's a sad story, DC. And McCoy to the Pats. I could see that happening. He's that
Yeah,
type of quarterback.
that's been a rumor. They're going to go after him or the XFL guy that used to play for the Bengals and the Texans.
All right.
Um, can't think of his name, but
I'll give my two surprise cuts, and it was Brendan Joseph and Starling Thomas the fifth. Both of them balled out this preseason. I'm not. Starling Thomas was picked up by the Cardinals. Good for them, bad for him. Uh, Christian Covington got another job. He was signed by the Chargers today. Yesterday, Jermaine Infetti was signed by the Bills. So that's three of them gone that I know of. The surprise keeps was Iffy Melifonwu, who's been injured the last two preseason games. I thought he needed to ball out to maintain a spot on the roster. And Will Harris, when your PFF score at cornerback is you're just the shiniest turd in a shitty room. Just saying. I know Dan Campbell loves Will Harris for some god awful reason. But he did improve from safety. His PFF at safety the year before was a 20. So I guess he's a better corner than safety. I can give him that. Michael Badgley is on the Lions practice squad. Um, we picked up Max Percher, a tackle from overseas somewhere. So he does not count towards the practice squad yet. He's on the practice squad. So that gives you a 17th practice squad member when you pick up one of the international exemptions.
do the Lions keep just two quarterbacks or three?
We kept two, but Hooker's looking like he may be back by September 1st, and they're talking about activating him, and I think it's a big mistake.
So who's their other quarterback?
It's Teddy Bridgewater and Jared Goff.
That's right. I forgot they signed Bridgewater.
But so far,
They didn't keep your favorite guy then, the one guy that you've always bring
oh,
up.
Nate Suckfelt? No, they didn't keep him because he tore his ACL and he's out for the season. He will be on the injury reserve or get a injury settlement shortly. Um,
Oh, okay.
Guys who have made it back to the practice squad right now, there are 10 on the practice squad, 11 if you count Max Percher, the offensive tackle. Zonovan Knight, got him from the Jets. We picked up Dylan Drummond. We got back Maurice Alexander, Coyote Awasika, the guard, Connor Galvin, the offensive tackle who played guard, Chris Smith, the defensive tackle from Notre Dame, my guy that I touted about all year. We got back Trevor Nowaski from Saginaw Valley State. I'm happy to see that because he balled out in that Panthers game. Chase Lucas is back on the practice squad. Brandon Joseph is on the practice squad. And everybody's favorite kicker to hate the money badger, Michael Badgley, is back on the practice squad. Brent DeWitt. Difference between me and MCDC is that he sleeps better with Will Harris on the field, and I have nightmares. And hello, King SJ. And yep, definitely surprised that Will Harris made the team. I know, and I knew I had a feeling Starling Thomas was going to be the first waiver wire pickup by another team. And with the Cardinals having the third pick overall, yep, they had first dibs. So, who do you like that you who's have you signed to your practice squad yet that you like there, Jordan?
To be honest, I don't even know who else we signed. I haven't even looked.
You haven't looked? You want me to look for you and list them off?
Yeah, you can list them off. I haven't really been. I haven't seen who we all signed today. I seen earlier that were re-signing Cunningham and Zappy. That was
So
like
I'm checking with the Pat's Pulpit is the site.
1:30 or something.
Practice
One
squad
o'clock or
signs. You signed wide receiver Tyrick Pitts. Bailey Zappi's
okay.
back on the roster. Andrew
These are
Stuber.
all.
That's the kid out of
Well, these.
Michigan, right?
Yeah,
Andrew
he was already
Stuber.
on our. But all four of those guys were on our roster before.
Right. Joshua Bledsoe, safety. Corliss
Same
Waitman,
thing.
the punter.
Okay, same
Defensive
thing.
tackle Jeremiah Farms Jr.
Yeah, same thing.
Linebacker Calvin Munson. Offensive lineman Cody Rusi. Hey, wide
Yeah,
receiver slash running back is back on the practice squad. Ty Montgomery.
yeah, he's
Running
gonna
back
be.
Kevin Harris. Tight end Matt Sokol. Linebacker Joe Giles Harris. Tight end Farrell Brown. Linebacker Ronnie Perkins. And offensive lineman James Ferentz.
Yeah, every single one of those guys but Farrell Brown was on the active roster before.
You got room for one more. And Chicken Nugget, he says Will Harris should have never made this
So
team, to
so
be
there's
honest.
so there's so there's 15 on there.
There's 15 on there now.
Yeah, because you can keep 16.
Right. So you got room for one more, unless you find somebody in the international exemption room that you like, and then it's 17.
Yeah, cause
Well, that
which I
takes
think
care.
I do think that
Logan
Calvin
Erickson, what is up? How you doing, stat man?
I think Calvin Munson's gonna be on the active
I'm gonna go
roster.
see if the Lions added any since I last did that screenshot and gave the list that I did.
Yeah, because you said only what 10.
Yeah, Tabor is what they 10 is what they're at. Lions practice squad tractor. Let's see what it is. We didn't pick anybody. They said they didn't pick anybody up, but we did pick up the running back from the Jets, which is Zonovan Bam Knight.
Okay, yes.
Yep, we didn't add anybody else than what I said yet. But Trevor Nowoski made it. I'm doing fantastic, Logan. I am happy that Saginaw Valley State grad. No, there is no news about the Lions trying to trade for anybody. Looks like we're not even trading for a backup kicker now because we got Money Badger back on the practice squad. But I am happy to say that we did get Brandon Joseph back. I'm okay with Chase Lucas coming back to the practice squad. He's depth in case of injury, who's played in the NFL already. Had a couple of plays where he looked decent and then got hurt. So I wasn't high on him after this preseason. He had a pick at the end versus Jake Luton, and I was like, man, everybody on the team got it. Well, all I do is work, podcast, and write articles, so that's what I do. So if you miss me, better improve your aim and reload, because I don't hide from
Yeah.
anybody. But Brent DeWitt says, I have to say it again. Congrats to Khalil Dorsey. When you can go from MCDC's doghouse to the 53, you earned it for sure. He earned it with his special teams play. There's no doubt about it. That big kick return he had to set us up and shanked it in game one. Yeah, that was fantastic. Always will. But I am happy to see that we got Dylan Drummond back. It's a damn shame that Chase Lucas had an injury waiver settlement, which means it's more than likely more serious than anybody thought at the end of the game there when he tweaked. He walked off the field. That was the crazy thing. He wasn't even carted. He walked off the field. But I had a feeling he wasn't making the roster anyways for one reason. Teddy Bridgewater, who definitely is a better NFL quarterback than Nate Sudfeld, no matter what you say, he didn't catch a cold from Teddy Bridgewater. It was like 5 targets, 3 drops, and no receptions. That's not good. So, but he made catches as soon as Sudfeld got in and as soon as Aiden Martinez got in. And guess what? They're not on the roster. Sorry, not sorry. So if you can't catch from the guy on the roster, you're not going to catch from the starter either. And I touted ever since week one when I saw in the joint practices that Antoine Green, who didn't play in game one of the preseason, played with the ones and twos and was taking snaps with the ones and twos away from Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond the first week. That was when I knew he was making the roster. Because if there was questions about him, they'd have started him every game in the preseason. Just my thoughts. And he did pretty good. Teddy Bridgewater's in. He went 7 of 12 for 174 yards and a tutty, is what Teddy Bridgewater did. Well, 70 of that yards was on one catch. He had 2 targets from Teddy to begin with. One, he overshot him by 5 yards in the end zone when we were in the red zone. No big deal. It was bad. It was a bad pass. It was way overshot, but guess what? It wasn't an interception, so I was happy with it. Then it was a beautiful play action pass after a decent run by Netflix, and he was wide open with 3 guys around him, and he made those 3 guys look like they were running in quicksand. He was so fast after he got that ball. Boom, gone. Caught it 20 yards downfield and ran it another 50 for a 70-yard touchdown. I knew on that play he was making the team. But he went on to catch the other 3 passes, or 2 passes that went his way. He ended up with 3 catches, 97 yards, and a tutty.
So can believe Josh Dobbs is going to be the Cardinals starter.
Yeah. Hey, think about this, guys. If Goff goes down, we got Teddy Bridgewater. If Josh Dobbs gets hurt while Kyler Murray is hurt, they got to go to Clayton Tune, which might be better than having Josh Dobbs start.
They should have just kept Colt McCoy.
I think they should have too, but they were getting in that cap hell thing because with trading Isaiah Simmons in his 4th year, they took on a dead cap hit, which they didn't have a lot of cap room already. And Colt McCoy was in the last year of his contract, so it freed up more money because remember they gave him a decent sized contract for being a backup quarterback. I think it was upwards around 10, 11 million a year, and it dropped to like 9 this year, but it was pretty much a $1 million dead cap, so it saved him $8 million. That was why they did that.
Yeah, because I was just looking at their roster. They got a decent offense.
Brent DeWitt, after seeing the Bills' brutal schedule, do you think they might miss the playoffs? Yeah, I think there is a shot that the Bills miss the playoffs because I don't know if they did enough to maintain being the top team in the East. They didn't address the running back room after Zach Moss broke his arm. They let Devin Singletary walk out the door, who's with the Texans, and that's going to be one hell of a 1-2 punch down there with Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary.
I think they upgraded at running back.
How?
They got Damian Harris.
But they lost their scat back. They do that, that running back by committee. I understand they still got Dalvin Cook's little brother.
Yeah, I think their RB1 they upgraded.
Yeah, but their depth lost.
Yeah,
And so by running back by committee they do, it means that Josh Allen's going to have to run some more and risk his career more. That's what I'm saying. You want to do something to protect your quarterback. Just because the guy's
yeah,
athletic and can run doesn't mean you want him to.
yeah.
And chances of beating KC with or without Chris Jones, I think it's a 20% in favor of the Lions to have Chris Jones holding out. As much as anybody wants to say it, he had 15 and a half sacks last year, but everybody else was better around him when they moved him back to nose tackle. Because remember, beginning of the season, they played around with him at D end and outside linebacker in that 3-4 defense, and nobody was really getting any pressures. They put him back in the middle. I think it was week 5. All of a sudden, Frank Frank Clark started getting sacks. George Karlaftis getting sacks. The reason why this is huge is because when he isn't getting sacks, he takes on double and triple teams, which frees up everybody else around him. Without him in the middle and relying on a rookie and a UDFA to be your starting D tackles for rotating as your rotational pieces, plus George Karlaftis being week to week right now, and one of their I think a third round rookie draft pick, that DN's hurt as well. So with that all being said, they're going to struggle because they have a young secondary, and if you can't get pressure from your front seven, what helps a young secondary? Pressure from the front seven. If you're not getting pressure, they're going to be toast in the beginning. They'll gel and come together like they always do and still win their 10 to 13 games because that's just what the Chiefs do. They start slow on defense. They always have a decent offense, averaging, I think it's 25 points through the first 4 games. And then all of a sudden it jumps up by 3 points for the next 3 games. And then it jumps up another 10 points throughout the rest of the season to give them their 31 to 33.5 points per game total that they get, because they're always going to have that one game where they blow the hell out of Oakland and score 75 points. You know I'm right. They have the one where they snooze and they lose to Oakland. Then later in the season they come back and they say, "Yeah, I'm still your daddy."
The actual
Cardinals drafting Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they need to go quarterback, but they probably won't. That depend. It really depends because the dead cap doesn't clear enough to be able to trade Kyler Murray yet. So they're kind of stuck with Kyler Murray at least another year because of that 5-year contract. I can't even hear you, Jordan.
I said, you can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
If they can get out of Kyler Murray's contract, the Cardinals have two are going to have the Texans pick as well, so
Right.
they could have 2 top 5 picks this upcoming draft. So they could take Marvin
Just,
Harrison Jr. and like a Drake May.
I think they'd be better off with Drake May, who seems to be more of a traditional quarterback who's athletic
Yeah,
than an athletic quarterback who can throw. There's a big difference there. I'd rather have a quarterback who's athletic than an athletic quarterback who can throw, because when they struggle, what do you hear out of those mouths? The athletic quarterbacks that can throw, you hear he's a running back that throws the football, like you hear with Justin Fields and like you hear with Lamar Jackson. Lamar
yeah.
Jackson has yet to have a 4,000-yard throwing season, and until he does, I'm not going to call him a quarterback. I'm going to call him the best athlete on the field. And Justin Fields is like the Wish or Timu version of Lamar Jackson.
Let's say Justin Fields hasn't thrown for 4,000 yards. He hasn't thrown for 36 touchdowns like Lamar did in the MVP year either.
No, I'm not saying I'm not giving him a comparison that way. I'm just saying
Yeah,
he's a lesser version of him is what I'm getting at.
yeah. I,
And
th- I think
I I
I
think
think
the
Lamar's gonna have his best year this year.
he may, but he has to stay healthy. Until I see him stay healthy, I'm not that high on him. But the fact they lost a preseason game, I bet they make the playoffs and win at least one this year again. You're laughing, but you know I'm right. They finally lost a preseason game.
That is funny. They won like
because
eight. They
didn't
went
they
like
win?
eight.
They won with Joe Flacco in 2014, then re-signed him to that big contract, right?
Something like that. They showed the graphic of the last time they like lost the preseason game. Lamar Jackson was a freshman at Louisville.
Yeah, so that was 2014. That was the year they won the Super Bowl. I think they went one
No,
in,
no, no. They won the Super Bowl in 12.
was it 12? Okay, so that's even worse. Think about this.
Yeah.
The streak started in 2015. They went 24 games in a row, and every year they never made the Super Bowl again.
I don't. I think they only. I don't even know if they won a playoff game.
They won one playoff
Oh
game
yeah,
with Lamar
they
the
beat.
MVP
That's right.
season. They
They
other than
beat.
that they've got 4 losses.
Yeah, they beat Tennessee that one year. That's right, because they lost to Tennessee one year, and then they beat them one year.
Yeah, and that was the one that Tannehill gave the defense the game
Yeah.
because Derrick Henry did enough to win. The the defense did enough to win,
Yeah.
but the offense,
Yeah, they had
other
no
than
pass
Derrick
game.
Henry, was lackluster.
Yeah.
So with 6 spots left, that's what the Lions have left. I still want them to go claim Dwayne McBride and have him be good and make it to the running back 3 position for the Lions, just so we can rub it in Vikings fans that their O line wasn't good enough to make him good. Because they drafted him in the 7th round and cut him.
What's the runaback? Did the runaback for the Cowboys make it? The short guy.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn, I believe he made the roster. Let me double check that right now. I love checking this stuff. It's fun.
I'm sure he did, but
Let's see what the Cowboys
because I know they kept.
depth chart looks like.
They obviously traded for Trey Lance. I don't know if you talked about that since last week.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Kind of a shocker.
Oh, no, he didn't.
Deuce Vaughn didn't make
Oh
the
yeah,
roster.
yep. He's on the 4th team. Hunter Lepeque, Deuce Vaughn, and Ronald Jones.
And Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard's a starter,
Yeah.
and the backup is Rico Dowdle.
Oh, so they got Ronald Jones. I didn't know they had Ronald Jones.
Yeah. Luke Schoonemaker got hurt this offseason already.
Oh, the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
From Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. And Mozzie Smith made it as the backup.
Who's he backing up?
Jonathan Hankins.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he was going to start, but I didn't know they had Jonathan.
No, and then the other guy is Osa Osa Idegozaya or Zawa or whatever, however you say it.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He played for the Saints, I think, before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he came over from the Saints. And Deuce Vaughn is the backup punt returner and the 3rd-team kick returner. But of course, Cavante Turpin is the starter there.
Who they keep at wide receiver besides? I know they got C.D. Lamb and Gallup.
And Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Jalen Tolbert.
That's right. They drafted
Jalen Brooks. And they're...
So they only kept 5.
And Cavante Turpin, who's a wide receiver. So 6.
Oh, okay. They just kept Dak and Lance were their only 2 quarterbacks.
Yep. So we could always go with the other gingered wizard that played for him last year that went 5-1.
Cooper
Connor
Rush is there about?
Yeah, Cooper Rush. We could
Where's
always
he
go
at?
for him for a backup.
Where's he at?
Got waived again.
He's a free agent?
He's on the waiver wire.
Wow, I'm surprised the team didn't take him out.
So if Chris Jones and I would reverse this saying I think the Lions at 60-40 they can win without Chris Jones in their lineup. With Chris Jones, it's a 40% chance they win with him in the lineup because of the difference he makes on the defense with the front 7. Would you agree with that assessment?
Oh yeah, Chris Jones is the difference maker
Wouldn't you
for
say that's
Denver.
like a 20% difference maker either way?
Yeah, he's definitely a difference maker. But like I said, the
So,
Chiefs only have three blue chip players on their team:
the
Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones.
yep. So who's out on the waiver wire that anybody else wants? Yeah, I mean, I named one. I said Dwayne McBride just to make the Vikings look bad because I think it would be hilarious.
The guy I want's not on the waiver wire, but he's a free agent.
Who?
Carson Wentz.
You want Carson Wentz? You want that PTSD guy on your team?
Yeah,
The
it's
guy
my
hasn't
back.
been good
My
ever since Nick Foles made him his biatch and took his Super Bowl winning away.
he was decent his 1 year in Indianapolis.
No, he was awful.
No, he
Awful.
wasn't. He had a good touchdown to interception ratio. Justin
And
Kingsbury that good.
Brent Brent DeWisk asked me, "How do you see the KC game playing out? I think our secondary might give up a big play or two in the first half, but it's rebound for a couple INTs. Lions will keep Patrick Mahomes off the field running. 34-31 Lions." I actually kind of like that. I said originally, and that was with me thinking Chris Jones was going to play. When I was looking at the roster, I said if the Lions win, it's going to be a slugfest and a low scoring game. With him out, I think it's going to be higher scoring. And I do think they're going to try to keep Mahomes on the sidelines, and it might. Oh God, I don't even want to say it. Could it be a double-digit win in Week 1 because their young secondary gets torched, and it's because of the play action passing? We've got the best play action quarterback in football right now. There's no denying it. You can look at the passer ratings in play action situations. He's ahead by 20 some odd points over the next guy, and it isn't Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Because Pat Mahomes has a god awful play action move. Everybody knows it's going to be a pass. He pulls it before the running back even goes by. It's not even close to his hands wrapping around the ball or anything. I don't know how Jared Goff does it, but half the time you don't even know he didn't hand off the ball in play action. The announcers do because they're right there watching through their binoculars or got their TV blowed up or whatever. But
Yeah.
the average fan watching on TV, with the way the angles are, because they do that classic TV angle that's up into the back of him. All you see
Yeah.
is the running back go by, and he's got his head down and he's tucking to run through the line. He may not even get to the line, but he's like this in that position. Next thing you know, Goff is flinging it 15, 20 yards down the field, which that is about his great accuracy range, is in that 15 to 20-yard range.
Yeah.
And that's why he does good. That's why Amon-Ra flourishes. That's why people like Josh Reynolds, Khalif Raymond, and all those guys still have a job with Detroit. Is because of that range right there. With their speed and the way they run routes, they get open in that area. Which means you 9 times out of 10, if you're in the middle of the field and you got those guys' speeds, it's a slower linebacker in coverage at that point when it's a zone coverage. But there was a sick play that I saw this preseason, and I got to talk to assistant running back coach Torrey Harmon, and he literally said Pat Mahomes looked at him and said, "Watch this," and it was on a supposed to be a screen pass to Pacheco. He literally threw it around the back without looking, right to Pacheco.
Really.
Reed, of course, says, "Don't ever do that in a game," you know.
Hey, do you think we're gonna see that new rule come into play week 1?
I think you're going to see that coming a lot, especially if Joe Burrow's back because he's the biggest culprit of it. Pat Mahomes was like, he was on the list, but way down. Goff doesn't do that at all. He never fakes to run. If he's running, he has to.
Yeah,
uh,
he's like Tom Brady. There's 10 yards of space.
well, yeah, that's exactly it. Everybody gripes that they want an athletic quarterback, but Goff actually ran for almost as many first downs as DeAndre Swift did last year. And that's crazy to say, but he did, and he had nowhere near the yardage.
Yeah.
I think they both ran for 11 first downs last year.
That's nuts.
And you wouldn't think that hearing Jared Goff name and running, but he had less than 300 yards. So, of course, yeah, I think he had
Yeah, but
less
he
than
probably
150.
and he probably only had like 40 rushes all year or something.
It wasn't even. But, every
Okay.
time they're sacked, that counts as a rush. Even though it goes on defensive stats against the pass, as far
Yeah.
as for a quarterback, it counts as rushing because it goes to negative yards in his rushing stats because the pass was never made.
Yeah, it was never thrown.
And I think that's kind of redonkulous. It should come off the passing yards.
Eh,
I'm not wrong. It's a
I,
negative
I,
play and a passing play.
yeah, it's a negative play in the passing play, but it wasn't thrown, so technically it's like you ran the ball. If he thrown it behind the line of scrimmage and the guy lost yards, yeah, I could
Well,
see
then that's
that.
a lateral or a pitch.
No, I was saying like if your quarterback threw it to say, at the line of scrimmage and then the receiver ran backwards a couple yards and got tackled for a two
And
yard
Brent
loss.
Brent DeWitt agrees with me. He said, "Great point, Jay. If Jones is not in the lineup, I feel so guilty. The Chiefs not being at 100% after winning another Super Bowl. Haha. If he ain't there, welcome to the Demo Gibbs show." And I think, if he's not there because they don't have great run stuffers behind them, they got guys that were good in college, but you don't know what they are. They're a question mark in the NFL. But if Chris
Yeah.
Jones ain't there, Jonah Jackson, Big V, and Rags are going to have a field day with young, inexperienced defensive tackles.
Yeah. Because they got two good linebackers, but
Yeah, they got was it Nick Benito, and then
no, they got Nick Bolton.
or Nick Bolton. Yeah, Nick Bolton, not Benito. Who's the other one? They got him.
Something gay.
Yeah, Willie Gay.
Yeah.
Willie Gay. What? No. No, that guy's good. I would never make fun of that name in front of him.
There's another guy named Gay that was decent at basketball in the NBA too.
Yeah, Rudy Gay, right?
Yeah.
And then there was Randall. Oh no, it's Randall Guy, ain't it?
There
There
was a guy.
was
No, there's a
there
guy.
was a Gay back in the day
No,
that I
there was a
remember.
Gay. It was the Steelers Gay, the cornerback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
Randall, right?
no, I think it was William or something.
Could be.
He was a corner. He played with
Yeah.
like Troy Polamalu and all them.
Yep. What a night, guys. I mean,
Yeah. No
it's not
preseason.
over yet. There's still some spots for every roster. Patriots got one. Hopefully, it's another quarterback.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be a quarterback on the active roster. I can see them getting a quarterback, but I don't think they'll have three quarterbacks on the practice squad.
So, Jordan, what's your final season prediction for the Patriots? Be your honest opinion. How many
Look at
wins you think they're going to get?
so we got a pretty tough schedule. We got so we play obviously our own division's going to be tough right there. That's going to be 6 tough games. Playing the Jets twice, the Dolphins twice, and the Bills twice. And then we got the NFC East, which is the Cowboys, the Eagles,
The Giants and the Commanders.
Yeah, which the good thing I do like is the Eagles. We play the week 1 at home, and they might be coming off that little Super Bowl hangover. So I think that's the best time to play them is week 1 at home. And then the other division we play is the NFC West or AFC West. So we play the Chargers, Kansas City, the Raiders, and Denver, which I think we can at least win 2, if not 3 of those games. So
And Brent DeWitt goes, "No Jones for KC means Ben Johnson is having wet dreams."
I
Probably
think
is.
how I looked at our season, though, as I said, they need to win the games, the 50-50 games. So they need to be so on our schedule, we play the Colts this year out of the AFC South. We need to win that game. We play the Steelers out of the AFC North. They need to win that game. We need to beat the Giants and the Commanders. So that's 4 right there.
And then if you can split in your division.
Yeah, if we go 500 in our division, that's 7. And then I got the Raiders, the Broncos. Got to win those games. That's 9. And then maybe the Chargers. That's 10. That might get you in the
Is
playoff.
Chargers at Foxborough or is it in LA?
I think it's at home. I'll go
Because if it's
look.
away, I wouldn't count on it. If it's home, maybe.
Yeah, they got. I will say they do got kind of the Chargers number though.
Yeah, but it's playing them away that's an issue, and that's one of the games that I
Well, actually,
circled.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure I don't know if this is still a thing, but Justin Herbert, I believe the only team he doesn't have a touchdown pass against is the Patriots. Still, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong on that.
I thought he got one last year. Or no, that was a screen.
He played
It
the
was a
Patriots.
lateral.
He played the Patriots twice. One game, his first start, they were shut out. The Cam Newton year, they got shut out, and then last year.
Oh yeah, Cam Newton's only good game when he rushed for the touchdown. Said, "I'm back, baby."
Yeah, they got beat like 40 that year. It was like the Patriots scored like 3 special team touchdowns that game against.
Yeah, it was.
They
bad.
got like 2 punt returns and a block return, and the Chargers didn't even score. And then
That was the Anthony Lynn year, wasn't it? The last year Anthony Lynn was a coach.
Yeah, it was the last year. Yeah, and then 2 years ago they played the Chargers. Yeah, 2 years ago, and Herbert didn't play well in that game either. He had like 2
Oh, what the heck happened?
interceptions.
I just got to ask, what the heck happened with the title of my show? Glitch? No, I was typing in a phone and I was getting ready to leave for work, so I was creating the show real quick. And yeah, I mistyped. Fat fingered it. Old fat fingers on tiny little keyboard.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, I think if they can win those, that might get them in the playoffs. 10 wins. It's gonna be tough though in the AFC because I think everybody's gonna be beating up on each other.
Yep. And it's the same in our division. I mean, last year, the reason why Lions fans are so hyped this year, when you can go 5-1 in your division,
Yeah.
it makes a big difference in your outlook the following year. I mean, it's crazy that the Vikings who won the division went 4-2. They split with us and they split with Green Bay.
And they won it by a landslide too.
Yeah, I mean, they won it by 4 games. I mean,
Yeah.
but they had 11 games where they won by less than 7 points.
Yep.
And with that defense losing the 7 starters they lost, I don't see them winning 7 one-score or 11 one-score games again.
Yeah, that division will be interesting. I think that and the NFC South are all going to be pretty close.
The NFC South 7 wins might win the division. They're that bad.
Oh no, I think New Orleans is the favorite.
I think they are. I think it's between New Orleans and Atlanta because the Bucks got worse. The Carolina's an unknown.
Yeah, Carolina doesn't have an offense. They got a good defense.
They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a good starting offensive line.
Well, they don't really got receivers either because they lost DJ Moore.
Yeah, they lost DJ Moore. They picked up DJ Shark. He's day-to-day now. He may be back by week 1. They don't know.
Their number 1 is Adam Thielen.
Yeah, their number 1 is Adam Thielen, a guy that couldn't play 17 games for Minnesota.
He's slow and declining. And then they lost their running back too that went to Chicago, Foreman. I think the Chuba Hubbard's their starting running back now. So they ain't got nobody on offense, but their defense is going to be good. The defense will keep them in a lot of games. But I don't know. I'm not really a believer in Desmond Ridder either, so I think Atlanta's not going to be that great.
Brent DeWitt says, happens to my old ass too. Fat Auto Foundry fingers. Yes, sir. So tune in at 10:30 tonight as I go over the Lions roster in more detail. We're going to go over the depth chart, possibly where we see guys lining up. We're also going to go over the rest of the practice squad signings that happen, if any, tonight. But right now we're sitting at 10 on the practice squad, 11 if you count the international player. But we have 6 spots available.
How many tight ends did the Lions keep?
3. We kept Laporta, Brock Wright, and James Mitchell.
I was going to ask if they kept Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't let a guy you drafted in the 6th round just walk away.
Because they knew were going to keep Wright and Laporta.
Oh, yeah. You can't get rid of your 2nd round pick. Yeah. Unless your name is like Chicago or Green Bay. Brent DeWitt says Atlanta is overrated, in my opinion. They improved their defense greatly. Where they didn't
Yeah.
improve a lot was wide receiver weapons. That's the only question mark I have on that team, unless they're going to put Cordarrelle Patterson back in the wide receiver room because of adding Behan and the way the backup played when Patterson mixed two games. They could probably do that without a problem. And you'll probably see that also, as sometimes Behan will be in the backfield and Cordarrelle Patterson will play split end or something like that because
I
Kyle Pitts has an allergy reaction when he gets to near the end zone. He can't
I
touch
think
the football.
I think they'll use Cordell at wide receiver. The reason why is because that's where they need him at, and they got not only they got Bijan Robinson, they got that guy they drafted last year that had a decent year,
Oh,
Tyler Algier or whatever.
hmm.
They still got him too, so I think they'll use Cordell more at receiver.
I think they're going to use him more like an OW, like they're calling Jameer Gibbs. They're going to have him split out. They're sometimes going to have him in the backfield. I think he's only going to get 20% of his
I
snaps
don't
at running back.
I don't think the Falcons improved their defense that much. I think it was more their secondary is where they improved.
Well, yeah, I mean, adding Okuda, if they all they did was added Okuda and they didn't have AJ Terrell, it would have
They
been bad. But the fact they got AJ Terrell to play against the ones and Okuda against non-number one receivers is actually really good. The numbers are there according to all the stats and PFF to prove it.
and
With
they
him
got
being on the other side of the field and not having to be the guy, I think it's going to help his development better.
well, you know what else is going to help? They have Jesse Bates at safety too.
Yeah, they got somebody over the top that knows how to help corners.
So that's why I think they'll do that a lot. You can see them play man because Atlanta likes to play man. So
Right. There, that was the biggest switch. The Aubrey Pleasant defensive scheme for the Lions last year, we played 90% man, which was when Okuda, through those first 7 games, had right around a 70 PFF, which isn't great. But compared to the 30 he had the rest of the season while we were in zone, it was fantastic.
well, 70 still like I mean it's not elite level, but it's still starter
It's
level.
good. It's starter level.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't say it was elite. I'm just saying
yeah,
compared to the 30 he was when he was in zone coverage, which was
yeah,
dog water.
yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, that's
he
like
went from
back.
okay to dog water,
Yeah,
and he ended up with like a 59.6, which isn't horrible, but it's
yeah,
not good.
yeah, yeah.
Like I
Because
said, he was
Atlanta
our
runs a
second
ton of
best.
man.
He was our second best corner according to PFF, even with those 10 god awful games.
Yeah, because yeah, Atlanta. I watched Atlanta a lot, and they ran a lot of man.
Yep. They run 80 to 90% man
Yeah,
and only 10 to 20% zone. And their zone is usually if they're up in a game and they just go to the dime prevent package, they just run a big zone out there, eliminate a lot of their linebackers other than the one named Troy Anderson, who's probably one of the still like the second or third fastest linebacker in the NFL. That kid's got elite speed, knows how to cover.
yeah. Well, that's that will also help guys like they can get some pressure up front. That'll help guys like Grady Jarrett too.
Laporta will shine at times, but I'm afraid he's going to hit that rookie wall during the season. I think they're going to use Laporta more similar to a Gibbs fashion. If Gibbs is out there on the outside, they're going to split Laporta out and do a two tight end set where he moves from near the line out because he blocks better downfield than he does at the line. That's one thing he does, which gives them a little versatility. They could do an end around from either way with Amon Ra or Gibbs and let Laporta block a linebacker or safety downfield for him.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at everything I saw. The one thing Laporta did well was he blocked downfield well in the run game. He's not much of a blocker at the line or against in pass pro. So if it's going to be predominantly a pass, you might not even see Laporta on the field unless it's one of those trickery plays.
or they're like, hey, we want our best five on the field receiving.
Right. Or in that situation where it's a third and long. And here's the thing, everybody thinks third and long is always third and 10 or third and 9. No, third and 6 is actually a long. 6 yards is hard to get on third down for most teams.
Yeah.
So anything longer than 5 yards, when you get into 6, 7, 8, or
Yeah.
more, that's a third and long situation. That's when you see those 4 and 5 wide receiver sets or a 2 tight end set with one as a split end and 3 wide receivers, whatever. You know, that's the difference between the 9 and 10 man technique that they're talking about. The 10-man technique is 10 men up on the line or an empty backfield. The only guy in the backfield is the quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
sure.
wanted to specify that for people. The 9-man technique. Guess what? That means there's a running back there with the quarterback. When you get into the 8 and 7-man packages, that's more of your traditional first and second down packages. Because you got to have 7, a minimum of 7 on the line.
Yeah. So, you, who you got going to the Super Bowl in the preseason? Preseason's over. Who's your Super Bowl picks?
I still think it would be funny if it fell this way. I want to say it just because it would be shits and giggles. Browns versus Lions. Let's go. Two nobodies who's never been there. Deshaun Watson has his head surgically removed from his rectum and learns how to be a quarterback again. Then you get the Lions. Goff leads us to 10 wins and then gets hurt. Hear me out. Gets hurt in week 6 or 17 at Dallas. Hendon Hooker comes in. Hooker saves Detroit. That would be the headline.
Hooker beats the massage parlor.
Lee Hornpostal says 3 dream scenarios. Yes, sir. That
Yeah.
or it's even better. The Lions versus Jets, because we know that Aaron Rodgers can only.
There ain't no way the Browns would get to the Super Bowl. They wouldn't let that happen.
I know.
That's what I said. I said Deshaun Watson, even if he does come back to be himself, they're not going to let Deshaun Watson get MVP unless that dude would have to literally. Patrick Mahomes would have to get hurt, and Deshaun Watson had to throw for like 70 touchdowns.
I'm just saying, if we get to the playoffs and get the chance to play the Eagles in week 2 of the playoffs, let's say we win week 1 because we're hosting a game.
Yeah. Might be playing Seahawks again.
Ooh,
that might be who you play.
Here's the dream scenario by Lee Hornbostel. His number 1, KC beats us by 3 in the opener, and we beat them in the Super Bowl.
Oh.
2, we beat Sharon Rodgers. 3, let's hear it.
Hey, you know what'd be the greatest?
Lions versus Patriots.
No. Well, but I'm saying what would be the greatest are like memes.
3, we beat the Browns. So the Browns are in there.
I know this won't happen, but it would be funny if the Lions went 17-0 and won the Super Bowl. They could say, hey, we're the only team that went 0-16 until the Browns, and now we're the first team to go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl.
Oh, how much would that chafe Tom Brady's butt? If Jared Goff is the first quarterback to go undefeated through the Super Bowl.
That would be nuts. I'm surprised they ain't added an extra game yet, though. I thought they would, after a couple years of doing that, I thought they'd add it.
I think the CBA keeps them from doing it because they wanted to see how it goes. And
Yeah,
I think the CBA is up for what? Is it 2026? It was a 6-year CBA this time?
yeah, because the only thing I don't like about the 17-game season is the whole. I think it's a disadvantage for the AFC or the NFC team that year. Because you got 9 away or 9 home and 8 away. Like this year, the AFC has 9 home and the NFC only has 8.
Last year it was 9, and NFC had 9. Every other
Yeah,
year it's going to switch back and forth.
I
But yeah,
think
I
if
think
they
it needs to go to 18.
yeah, if they're gonna do that, what they need to do is do the extra game like a neutral site. because I think that's a little bit of a disadvantage.
Well, they kind of already did that with the overseas games, but they would have to make it where every team does one overseas or out of country game. So
Yeah,
there's places like Toronto that has a good stadium that can have stuff in it.
yeah.
Edmonton, uh, Mexico City. I mean, they were supposed to have it, but they had torrential downpour that year. That was the year that the Rams beat the Chiefs on Monday night. That was supposed to be in Mexico City, but they had that hurricane or tropical storm come through and it flooded out the stadium and made the field condition too bad or unsafe for the players. So they ended up playing
Speaking
it.
of international games, I don't even know where are the international games at this year.
Berlin, Paris. I want to say, I know it wasn't Paris.
Is
It
it-
was Berlin
And
in
I know the
England.
Patriots are playing in Germany this year,
Yep.
but I didn't know where else they were playing. If
I
they,
thought for sure they were going to screw us and make us play like the Chargers in Wembley Arena.
yeah, because that's one of our home games, and we're playing the Colts, so we really only have 8 home, 8 away, and then a neutral site.
Right. See, now if they stay with 17 and do one neutral site for each team, each week
Yeah,
somebody be on a neutral site, that takes away that home and away advantage.
that's
It's
what I
just
said. I think
it's
it's a
just
disadvantage
home.
that
It's
year.
just home on paper then.
Yeah, I think they should do like a neutral. If they're going to do 17, I think everybody should have that extra game should be a neutral site. So whoever your NFC team is versus AFC, that game should be a neutral site game.
Right.
So like I don't know who you guys play as your extra this year. We play the Saints, so that should be our neutral site.
Let's see. We play the AFC West and the NFC South.
Yeah, so we play the NFC East and then the AFC West, and then our extra NFC opponents, the Saints. But that's why I said they should the extra AFC versus NFC. They should just make that a neutral site game, even it out.
All right. Well, what is your final thoughts? Your parting shot.
Well, fuck Matt Patricia. He's not our coach. He's not our
Yes.
coach anymore. I can actually have a good season this year maybe.
Yeah,
Matt
you have an
Patricia.
actual offensive coordinator, even though it cost you guys DeAndre Hopkins, but that's another story.
Yeah, at least we got an actual offensive coordinator this year. Not a freaking defensive coordinator trying to coach offensive line and
Well,
be a
wait.
coordinator.
Yeah, in Matt Patricia's defense, his first position with the Patriots was O-line coach.
Yeah. He tried to. Well, it's hard to do two at the same time.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's hard to be an offensive line coach and be an offensive coordinator, especially when you've never done the coordinator part before.
Is it just me, or did anyone else want to shove that pencil right up his ass?
Oh my gosh, he needs to take that. I still can't believe he's the Eagles DC.
Assistant DC. Assistant DC.
I know, but I'm saying like that's
I,
what makes me want to beat the Eagles more week one.
yeah, amen.
Just a laugh at Matt Patricia.
I can't believe that DeAndre Swift wanted to go there with Matt Patricia on that coaching staff.
Well, and I think you know who their head DC is. Isn't it Brian Flores?
No, that's Vikings.
Okay, maybe it wasn't. I thought I was thinking he went to Eagles.
Lee Hornbostel says Patricia the Hut is a saboteur. My parting shot is the same one I tell everybody every day because it's the only way I know how to let people know how I truly feel. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts within here. I love everybody in the chat. Lee, DC, King SJ, Brent DeWitt. You guys rock tonight. Thank you so much. This has been Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. I'm Smoking Jeremy B. Thanks to my guests, Jordan Davidson, also known as Patriots Media. That's his channel. I believe it's on YouTube. Go check him out. And we are